Flawlessly done. They keep staring at them. Stare at them. The tighter you lock your eyes, try as hard as you can. Sleep fast all the time. The circle's getting bigger to meet you. Sleep now. So that's a cheeseburger, double cheese.
Oh my God! All right, welcome to the second video of the Director's Cut, Mike's Stage Hypnosis Show, whatever we're calling this.
Right.
We're now going to continue on where Mike is still doing the pre-talk part of the show, but he's ramping up the intensity in a really interesting way.
Ramping up the energy, too.
Right, ramping up the energy, the comedy even, everything is ramping up, which prepares people to really want to volunteer. So let's cut right to the next clip.
I remember being in Winnipeg in 1978, weirdest thing that ever happened. Playhouse Theater, stage, nearly 7 feet high, concrete orchestra pit. And we had so many good subjects that we had the Winnipeg Free Press came out. It was a big event. We had 1,100 people for the show. And so I'm doing the show. We got all these great subjects. I thought, let's do something new and original. I said, we're taking a journey around the world by ship. Wave goodbye to your friends. So they all go into Caribbean cruise mode, and they're all, you know, this kind of thing, drinking drinks that don't exist and putting suntan lotion on, some of them putting it on each other, which was hilarious, because they're all total strangers. And then I got this ridiculous idea. I said, do you know the name of the ship? And they all, no. I said, it's the Titanic. Oh, man, you have never seen people's attitudes change so fast in your life. And they went from suntan lotion and drinks to screaming, we're going to die! Panic starts. And one man on the end, I can still see his face. He had a green John Deere cap on, a big mustache, a skinny guy. He comes over me, he's really wound up, and he says, you got to turn this ship around right now. I said, what's the problem? He says, I'll tell you the effing problem. He said, the problem is we're going to hit an iceberg, rip a 200-foot gash down the starboard bow. The watertight compartments are not going to close. I said, well, some other ship will pick us up. The nearest one's the SS Carpathia. They're 80 nautical miles away, steaming southwest. It's going to take them 15 hours to get here. I said, how do you know this? He said, I read a book about it. Hey. You read a book about it? You're not on the Titanic now. It's what Dr. M.T. Ornate called trance logic. You're both on stage and you're on the Titanic. It doesn't have to make sense. Cognitive dissonance. Weird. So I said, well, sit down. He runs back to his chair. He starts trying to get the seat cushion off. Flotation device under seat. I said, it's a ship, not a jumbo jet. They aren't invented yet. He goes, that's right, I forgot. Forgot they aren't invented yet. So the panic spreads. I said, we've spotted an iceberg. He's like, that's the one. Turn the ship around. Too late. Ripping down the starboard bow. He's yelling at me, this is all your fault. I said, we're sinking fast. Swim for your lives. Maybe not the best choice of words, thinking back. And at the same moment, everyone was like, ah! Onto the stage, they start swimming. Some of them actually quite well. You could tell the people who could not swim. Say, let go of my hair, I'm drowning! People drowning in half an inch of plywood. One man's got his hand under his wife's chin trying to keep her head above wood. And you get a lot of side stroke as you can drag yourself efficiently. And one man's doing butterfly, making no headway, just banging his face. And we're laughing, and it's hilarious. And then I hear this horrible sound. A thud, followed by 1,100 people in the Playhouse Theater simultaneously going, oh. And I went, what? Well, somebody's missing. Oh, of course, Enjoyment Boy on the end has succeeded in swimming off a 7-foot-high stage into a concrete orchestra pit. You can skydive off this thing. I figure he's got to be dead. It sounded like somebody hit a watermelon with a cracked baseball bat. And this weird calm descends upon you when you realize you're going to prison for 10 to 15 years. That's it, that's my life. Then the audience starts laughing. I look, he's not even slowed down. He's doing the crawl in the orchestra pit, still going for it. It's like, thank you, God. The man did not have a bump or a bruise on him. He was so relaxed. And the Winnipeg Free Press was going to interview me. They wound up interviewing him instead. The reporter said, they called him the man who would not stop swimming in the article. The reporter said, what did you experience? He said, I remember clearly, diving over the rail into the icy sea. What? It's nuts.
All right, the Winnipeg story. It was quite lengthy, and it had a lot of pieces to it.
A lot of components.
Quite intricate, quite funny. What was the purpose of this?
Well, again, this raises the energy, as we said. I'm getting much more frantic involved, which is sending this not so subtle message to the audience that when you volunteer, you're going to be active, you're going to be involved, and crazy things can happen.
Yeah.
And also,
it raises prestige too, because you do get to the point of having the press involved and writing
1,100 people in the audience, the Playhouse Theater,
the man who would not stop swimming.
Right. The specificity of the detail shows it was a real event, not just once I had this thing up. It's funnier if it's very, very specific, and it does increase prestige. Oh, this guy does big shows in theaters, which of course then increases the overall effect. And I frame the audience. Notice I label the audience as
great subjects.
Great subjects. Now, when you talk about great subjects, when you label people, they tend to want to fulfill that. So
yeah, they want to live up to it, right?
Right. So this shifts into the Titanic incident.
Yeah. So after you've got the prestige and all that stuff, yeah, you did shift into the Titanic story.
Right.
Yeah.
So it gets a huge laugh. As soon as I say the word Titanic, you'll notice a massive laugh.
They're all prepared for a cruise, and suddenly the name of the ship is the Titanic. And it's so ominous the way you say it. It's so funny.
And the intensity goes up again here. And notice the detail with the guy with the John Deere cap. The skinny guy with the mustache. Notice too,
you're painting the
picture, the details. And I even say where he was, a guy in the end. Notice I don't cuss. I say effing. So everybody,
when you're quoting him, you gotta turn this
effing ship around. Now, why do I do that? Because everybody gets the point what I mean. But by not cussing, not swearing, I'm not going to offend anybody in the audience and break rapport. So I'm getting the laugh without actually saying anything off color. Saying it's sinking fast, swim for your lives. Everything changes, and the audience is howling at this point. So I tell a story. The idea being that you got people swimming all over the stage, again, sending the message, this is going to be extremely
you're going to be
vivid.
Involved.
You're going to be involved. It's a very, very active experience. The suggestion of people like working as a group against some common problem. And of course, the horrible thud story, the guy swimming off the stage. This brings in great comic relief, but also you get the gasp. This kind of thing.
When you talk about the horrible thud and realizing a horrible calm comes over you. I think you said
when you realize you go to prison for 10 to 15 years. It sounded like someone hit a watermelon with a cracked baseball bat.
That line. And so you're building up this the negative emotion of, oh my goodness, what happened to this guy?
Right.
And then the comic relief of he was still swimming.
He was slowed down. He's doing the crawl in the orchestra pit. Now, so this sends in the whole message twofold, that there are dangerous things if you're not careful up here. You must be careful, but thank God we didn't lose that guy. He was still alive, but be careful.
Right, which does play into what's coming up in the next clip, because we get into some more stuff about personal ecology, which we'll shift to.
And of course, the man who would not stop swimming, this all implies greater credibility because, the press is reporting on the show. So there we go.
All right, let's get to the next clip, and then we'll come back and talk about it to wrap up this video.
So tonight, we're going to go very quickly with it. I'm going to do some rapid induction sets, and the method I'm using works on most people very, very quickly. There are a couple of caveats, a couple of warnings. So first of all, the band's equipment, Plan B's equipment, is right behind the curtains here. So you must ensure you do not lean on the curtains here. Curtains here, not walls, and there's multiple thousands of dollars worth of equipment behind them. So please be careful of the curtain if you do come up. We also have 15 chairs. We're going to get a row temporarily standing just around the back, and I'm going to narrow it down to our best subjects, those who basically have no idea what's going on anymore. And people say, well, is it dangerous? No danger whatsoever. Absolutely none. And when I say none, I mean that there is a certain amount. The danger is the danger of falling off the stage. It will only happen once. We're not going to let it happen. You'll be fine. People say, well, what if you can't snap me out of it? Well, pray for it to happen. Man, I'd love to be hypnotized forever. It's awesome. Great place to be. Actually, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis to a degree. So you can't get somebody stuck in trance. I don't get phone calls at 2 a.m. He's still quacking. It never happens. Because you'll just come out of it on your own anyway. So who does it work on? Almost anyone in reasonably sound mental health. Turn to your neighbor, guess you can't go up after all. And I'll narrow it down, I'll send some of you back, but please do not volunteer if you have serious health concerns. I mean, if you do, you know you do. Also, if you have spinal problems, neck problems, because you get kind of active and you slump over and stuff, and your safety is always my primary concern, sort of. So just be careful with that. And also, don't volunteer if you're pregnant or if you think you're pregnant, or if somebody else thinks you're pregnant. Nobody's given birth up here, okay? Although I'm almost an obstetrician. And don't chew gum or eat candy. You'll inhale it and die. At least they always have in the past. And, oh yeah, there's something really important. I'm just trying to remember where the heck it was. But I knew it was a warning of some kind. Gone. Totally, never mind. Never mind. I know what it was. Don't sneak back to the audience. It'd be pretty difficult tonight. But sometimes someone goes, oh, I feel normal. I think I'm going to sneak back to the audience because I'm normal and I'll live a normal life normally. Wrong! One woman got up. I did an event for GM at Harbor Castle Hilton. And this woman got up and told me later she went back because she felt normal. She was still in a powerful trance. And I had not released her from it. That would wear off eventually anyway. And then we turned everyone in, I think it was Formula One race drivers or something equally stupid. And in the back of the room, you could suddenly hear this woman driving a chair at incredible speed, people trying to get out of her way. You know? So, if you go back, I will ensure you're not taking any residual charge with you. So here's the method. The method itself works really quickly. It works in about 15 seconds, but I need your concentration. And this is really such a cool group that you're so focused already. I know we're going to get some phenomenal subjects tonight, but I will send some of you back. We'll start with about 25. I'll narrow it down to the best ones, and best only means under these conditions right now. Anyone can be hypnotized. And then, when you go back to the audience, there are some side effects. First the good news, then the bad news. The good news is, you'll feel amazing. You'll be very relaxed. You'll be ready to dance afterwards and rock out with the band. We're going to move the chairs out. The bad news is, you get amnesia for what happened. You will forget you even volunteered and came up here in the first place. As ridiculous as it sounds, you won't remember you even came up here. And I've had guys say, no, we'll remind each other, man. We're not going to forget. Okay. They go back. Remember? What? This is gone. So to make it funnier, you remember later. And my favorite signal is as soon as you walk through the washroom doors, your memory pops back in your head. You remember and you go, oh, no. By then I'll be well on my way out of here. Actually, I'm going to hang around afterwards and talk to some of you, which will be awesome. So I'm looking for people between the ages of, let's say under 55. Under 55. We're looking for that sweet spot of the susceptibility for this, and you're going to have an absolute blast. You can't bring your drink. Don't bring your purse with you. Leave it with someone you know, or maybe someone you've never met, just to keep it exciting. And we will get 2 rows. You have to come up the side stairs here, okay? So can we get about 25 people? 1 row sitting, 1 row standing. Come on up! Excellent. And final reminder for those of you standing. Curtain, not wall. Guitars and drums behind you. Thank you. So that's not your direction. It is my aim that we get chairs for all of you guys anyway. And we will. They will either be these chairs or those chairs. And you won't be left standing very long.
All right, so that clip, it's another great clip, and this is all about shifting gears from the comedy into a little bit more mythology busting and instructions for maintaining personal ecology. Let's talk about that.
Well, it's very important. People have concerns about health concerns about volunteering. What if I've got spinal injuries? What if I get stuck in hypnosis? What if I take all my clothes off? People have concerns. So it's vitally important to address the concerns up front, but do so in a way that is humorous so it never gets heavy.
Right. So that's why you're saying things like, okay, you won't get stuck. It's impossible. Pray for it to happen because it feels so good. I think you even make some great remarks about there's some good news and some bad news, and it's funny and it relaxes people, makes them want to come up.
Right.
But of course, you also mark out safety, like you're not going to step back and bump into the curtains. It's a curtain, not a wall.
Equipment
There's band equipment there. You're not going to go back to the audience. In fact, that's a great one, right? Because you joke about the woman driving a Formula One
at Harbor Castle Hilton,
at high speed.
Now that's very interesting because, we're setting up the ecological constraints here. And we don't want people falling off the stage. We don't want people leaning on a curtain and falling through it thinking it's a wall. And it's vitally important to say all these things up front because then if there's a problem, God forbid, you have hundreds of witnesses who heard you warn everybody about this stuff. So it really does cover your butt to a degree. The woman who goes back to the audience, there's an interesting side note on that. The one with the driving the car I talk about. I want to make sure that everybody is snapped out of it before they go back because I don't want to have random events going off in the audience. That's why we also tell them it won't work on anyone in the audience, only the people on stage, and we release them before they go back. Interestingly, I would say a woman in the audience was driving a chair without wheels at considerable speed. And as I was saying it, I noticed someone near the front in a wheelchair and thought that might be offensive. And right mid-sentence, I changed it to someone in the audience was driving a chair at considerable speeds. I left out without wheels. Yeah. I'm saying that because you have to be flexible and don't just do a script. Stay with what's going on.
And you frame it as it's something that's going to go very quickly. Like it's only going to take 15 seconds, which is completely untrue.
Right.
But they don't need to know that.
Right.
And it makes it seem easy and fast, right?
And also the fact that, the appeal to scarcity, as you mentioned before, that when we say we're going to start with however many people, we're going to narrow it down to the best subjects.
Yeah, it makes them want to perform better.
Be the best subjects. You're using the word best. So that's another constraint. That's going to make sure that they're going to be involved, telling them they have to concentrate. So this is putting them at cause. They have a responsibility. It's not just sitting there waiting for something to happen. They'll be the worst subjects. We want people who want to be involved, who want to participate in it actively, labeling them as excellent subjects and so on.
Awesome. So at this point, that's the end of this video. We've got people up on stage now. Mike's ready to begin the show's already started because it's hilarious.
So now the
hypnosis part's about to start. So in the next video, we'll continue going and we're going to have more fun. Stay tuned.